Good morning, British Lit students, and welcome to week number 8. Woo, we're getting close to the halfway mark. And I hope you're enjoying the readings that we've done so far. And I hope that you're learning a lot, especially about British history and about some of the great writers that we've been studying. So, week 8, this is going to be an interesting week because we're going to finish up the Industrial Revolution with this week's readings, and that is from Frederick Engels' The Great Towns. Now, Frederick Engels ended up being Karl Marx's mentor, and the two of them actually wrote some stuff together. But this particular work is from Engels' early career, from The Great Towns. And you're going to see what slumlords did and what the living conditions of the working class were like in the big cities back during the early years of the Industrial Revolution. And I think you're going to be horrified by them. Nobody should have to live in the squalid conditions that these folks had to live in, and Engels will discuss that. And then we've got a very brief snippet from Charles Dickens' Hard Times. If I could, I would actually teach the entire novel Hard Times. Hard Times is one of my all-time favorite books, and probably next to Bleak House is my favorite Charles Dickens work. But as it turns out, we don't have time to go through the whole thing this semester. But this little snippet will talk about a fictional town called Coketown. And you will see how dirty Coketown is. And it's a reflection of what life in the cities was like back in that time. So even though it comes from a fictional work, a lot of towns looked like this that were covered in soot. And you couldn't see the red brick for all the soot on it and all the dirtiness that comes from that, like the river that is actually purple because of all the dye that goes in it. The River Thames in London was similar to that. So those are the industrialism ones. Then you're going to get a ghost story. So after all the seriousness of the Industrial Revolution, after all the child labor and all the squalid living conditions and all that, we're going to have fun with the next one. And that is Elizabeth Gaskell's Old Nurse's Story. It's a ghost story about, I think the big theme here is your past can always come back and haunt you. And anything you've done in the past that you regret cannot be undone, no matter how much time it takes. And so that's the theme of that story. And then Goblin Market by Christina Rossetti. Goblin Market is an interesting one because it's about a young girl who gives in to temptation and it nearly ruins her until her sister redeems her. So those are our 3 readings for this week and your 3 postings that you're going to have. Now, I've graded all the postings up through Alfred Lord Tennyson. I am sad to say that there are several of you that have not turned in more than 1 or 2 postings this semester, and even some students that haven't turned in any. Check your grades, folks. Go in there, look at your grade, and see how low it is. And realize that the reason it's so low is because even though you probably did well on the first exam, which was the Romanticism exam, your postings grades are so low that you're pulling them down. Now, if you've been doing these postings and you've gotten like 1 really bad grade, but you got a whole bunch of 9s and 10s, that 1 bad grade isn't going to hurt you. Later this semester, I'm going to program it so that the lowest one is dropped anyway. So, 1 little 6 out of whatever it is, 20 postings or whatever, isn't going to do any damage to you. But if you're constantly missing postings and getting 0 after 0 after 0, yes, that can pull down your overall grade quite a bit. In fact, I designed this class that way because I found in the past that a lot of students would just blow off the postings and be happy with taking a C. Well, blow off the postings this semester and you won't be able to take a C. You'll be in real trouble. So, those are those. The other thing I want to talk about is your hard copy syllabus says that your MLA quiz is due this week. I want you to disregard that. Remember what I said earlier this semester, and I think that this disclaimer is even on the syllabus itself. Yes, it is. There's a disclaimer here as well. The calendar in D2L always overrides the calendar in the paper syllabus. When I made this up, I thought that the school was going to require that I have you do the MLA quizzes this week. Then I found out later that I can give the quiz anytime I want. So those quizzes have really been postponed until April, and about early April, I think it is, early to mid-April. So you don't have to take those quizzes that it says in here. If you look on the calendar in D2L and you go into the quizzes and you look on the dates that the quiz opens and the quiz shuts down, you'll see that I have postponed that until April. And the reason I did that is so it can coincide with the research paper. I really don't think it makes any sense to have the MLA quiz this early and then not even start the research paper until late March. So that is why the quizzes have been postponed because, well, frankly, I'm allowed to do it. And that's the way I wanted to do it to begin with. So now we are doing it that way. So that's all I got for you. I hope that you'll enjoy Miss Gaskell and Miss Rossetti. I hope that you'll be educated on the living conditions in the industrial age. And if you've not been doing your quizzes, you better get the lead out and get on it. And because I'm going to start failing them. I mean, already the first quizzes, which were Wordsworth and Coleridge, and the next quizzes, which were, I think, the second week of Romanticism, those are already automatic failures because they're so late. And the rest of them are getting docked points because I cannot go back at the end of the semester and grade a bunch of quizzes that I should have graded. Excuse me, should have graded weeks earlier. So, but yeah, have fun with this week's readings, and I think you're really going to enjoy The Old Nurse's Tale. I think you're going to enjoy that one quite a lot, and Goblin Market for that matter. And on that note, again, as I've always said, any questions, call me on my phone during office hours, stop by if you're on campus, or send me a little email. Any of those will be fine. And we'll talk to you soon.